So, there's this video by a channel called The Faith Check. At the end of the video, he said,
"But you know what does not make sense to me now? Star Trek. So curse you, Charles Darwin. You freaking ruined Star Trek for me. That was my favorite show, you heartless monster."
There is this impression that there's some conflict between evolution and Star Trek, but there is a lot of material that explains why you have so many humanoid life forms in the galaxy, even why humans are found on other planets. So sit back, get a cup of tea, and enjoy this. Will be a pretty long episode. 4 billion years ago, the universe was inhabited by only one humanoid life form. We know of this race from a message they left behind in our DNA. Here are a few relevant points of that message.
Life evolved in my planet before all others in this part of the galaxy. We left our world, explored the stars, and found none like ourselves. We knew that one day we would be gone, that nothing of us would survive. So we left you. Our scientists seeded the primordial oceans of many worlds where life was in its infancy. The seed codes directed your evolution toward a physical form resembling ours.
All humanoid life was due to this seeding. Some planets we know directly were seeded are Curlin, Indri 8, Rua 4, Loran 3, and Bilmora 2. But that is only the beginning of the story, because there is a wealth of information about how life got distributed around the galaxy. And the first is the Preservers, who went through the galaxy saving primitive life. I'll let Spock brief you on this subject.
It was left by a super race known as the Preservers. They passed through the galaxy rescuing primitive cultures which were in danger of extinction and seeding them, so to speak, where they could live and grow.
I've always wondered why there were so many humanoids scattered through the galaxy.
So have I. Apparently, the Preservers account for a number of them.
They were known to have transplanted a group of American Indians, including the Navajo, Mohican, and Delaware tribes, to a primitive planet in the historical record we call the Paradise Syndrome. But can we know of any other planets they may have transplanted? I would like to bring you to a planet called Camus 2. All life on this planet was destroyed by celebium radiation. Or was it? Since we never saw the inhabitants, how can we know this was even a seeded world? Well, let's take a look at those symbols on the wall. Do they look familiar? Let me show you a record from a planet found in an outer quadrant of the galaxy called Scalos.
Malfunctions, Kirkout.
Look at those symbols. They're the same. But it doesn't end there. This planet itself was subject to a natural disaster. Look at the image from Eminiar 7. The cities are identical. Well, it is possible the Preservers not only saved the people of Camus 2, but then returned and saved Scalos by transplanting a group of them to Eminiar 7. You thought that was a large connection. Well, it gets even better. We are about to link Vulcans, Romulans, Mintaka, and Argelius as an offshoot of an ancient world. In the episode Return to Tomorrow, the Enterprise is called to an ancient, unnamed planet that went extinct 500,000 years ago. With the lack of a better name, I will call this world Sargon, the name of the last surviving leader of the planet. We do know they were humanoid because they did suggest that Earth was once their colony, although that is an idea that was dismissed.
Because it is possible you are our descendants, Captain Kirk. 6,000 centuries ago, our vessels were colonizing this galaxy.
Our beliefs and our studies indicate that life on our planet Earth evolved independently.
But Spock seemed to think the idea would explain certain gaps in Vulcan prehistory.
That would tend, however, to explain certain elements of Vulcan prehistory.
Could Vulcan have been a colony in itself? There is actually a lot of evidence for this. First, when the aliens tried to inhabit human bodies, it burnt them out very quickly. But Spock's body was able to withstand it much better.
Canuck, you better get back to bed, too.
It'll be unnecessary, Doctor. This Vulcan body is accustomed to the higher metabolism.
Sargon, it won't work. You've got to get out before you kill them.
We will vacate at once. Canuck, your condition.
I could continue in this body for several hours.
They did say that Kirk's blood pressure was raised to 262 while Sargon was in his body.
Heartbeat 262, Spock. Entire metabolic rate correspondingly high.
Which is close to the regular Vulcan blood pressure of 242, as established in the Naked Time.
Your pulse is 242.
Vulcan is a world with people who have some degree of psychic ability and almost destroy themselves with their passions. Sargon's planet was inhabited by people with a greater psychic ability and did destroy themselves with their passions. It seems obvious that Vulcan is a colony of their world. But there is another world I think could be considered a colony of Sargon's world, Argelius II. It is noted that some women have psychic ability.
Sensitivity of certain Argelian women is a documented fact, Captain.
It is also established that they had a more primitive time until an event known as the Great Awakening.
And he who is guilty will face the ancient penalties, barbaric and horrible though they may be. Gentlemen, before our Great Awakening 200 years ago, we had ways of learning the truth in such matters.
Take a look at this fire pit at the Surik family's place of Kunat Khalifi. Now take a look at the ceremonial table on Argelius II. Their symbols are the same, and the usage has the feeling of a zodiac. One is surrounding a flame, and the other a fiery pit of coal. It is interesting that the pit of coal is used for Vulcan, given they have a hotter planet. They appear to be symbolic of a sun. The most likely connection is to the world of Sargon. If the psychic ability is any judge, it seems Vulcans are better at their psychic abilities than Argelian. That makes me suspect that Vulcan is a later colony. Did you know that Vulcan also had a colonization period?
Vulcan, like Earth, had its aggressive, colonizing period, savage, governed by Earth standards.
So, how do we know if a colony world is from Sargon or Vulcan? You see, I suspect Vulcan was not an intended colony of Sargon, due to not matching the suggested environment of the world of Sargon.
Sargon, I remember a day long ago. We sat beside a silver lake. The air was scented with the flowers of our planet.
I also suspect the ears are an evolutionary trait of Vulcan. Better vent heat, as Vulcan is a hotter planet. This is the key to knowing who is a colony of Vulcan and who is a colony of Sargon. One such colony would be Mintaka III from Who Watches the Watchers, as they are remarkably similar to Vulcans. We're also told in Journey to Babel that the Rigelians of Rigel V have a physiology similar to that of Vulcan,
Rigelian physiology is very similar to Vulcan,
making these worlds likely a colony of Vulcan. Gambit fills in some more of the gaps. It suggests that Draken 4, Desca 2, Baratus 3, Caldra 2, and Yadala Prime may have been pre-Romulan colonies that may have later become part of the Romulan Empire, leading us to the foundation of Romulus.